Hey there, Skeleton Key here, and welcome back to my channel, and Happy New Year! Welcome to 2024. Going to be talking about mostly this very first week of reading for 2024. I've decided to do weekly book reports as live streams, and I'm hoping to get some regularity to my channel this year and build on that. And also, I've discovered that the monthly wrap-ups are just a little bit too daunting for me. So I'm going to give this a shot, and I'm also hoping that if I do this on a weekly basis, I will not forget how live streaming works every time and have to relearn it every time I set it up. So yeah, so let's see. So this very first week of 2024 was Bout of Books, round 39. And I've got links below, and I'll talk about that in a little bit. But right now, I want to talk about Genreland. I've got a bunch of stuff to get through because this first week was really busy. But let's see. Let's talk about Genreland. So this is a Goodreads group that I run, and I kind of took it over from a friend who was on the library staff at our local library when it was doing this Genreland reading challenge game throughout the year. And this was several years ago. And let's see, let me share my screen. Now, like I said, I have to remember how to share my screen because I haven't done this in a little while. So present, share screen. I think this is it. No, that's not it. Oh man. How do I have it set up? Oh, okay. So not the tab, the window. All right. Sorry about the delay. Here we go. So Genreland, and this, it's a monthly challenge to read something within, it started off as genres, and it is just sort of morphed into themes or keywords or various things. And so here you can see we've got January is animals. So I'll be talking about a few books that I read with animals important to the story. And next month is going to be dragons. And so there's a thread set up for discussing each of these. And then you can also go through and you can post your list, and then so I will go back in at the end of January and list the books here that I read, but I will also go into the January thread, and so here you can see there's the genres. So I only post a few months ahead. I posted because Goodreads has been like deleting threads. Even threads that have discussion on them, I don't know. They've been doing some weird things. And yes, I'm still on Goodreads. I have a Storygraph account, but I don't actually use it. With Goodreads, it's the devil you know. So it has quirks, and I've done workarounds, and so I do this. but you've got animals and February's dragons. So I've got a few ideas for that. And food history is March. And I think I showed in a short that I got for Christmas. I got both baking yesteryear and tasting history, but it doesn't have to be a cookbook. It can also be like an ingredient microhistory or something like that. Yeah, so you can have fun. And that's one thing I do. I like to see the variety of interpretations that people come up with of these themes or genres. So, but yeah, we'll just touch on that a little bit. And then, so when you go to Genreland, and I've got a link below to, I think, this section or maybe the homepage for Genreland. But it, you know, just there's an introduction section, and just jump in and start talking about what you want to read for various months. But and yeah, I've got, here's where I have the entire year, all of the months themes posted, so you can plan ahead. Let's see. Again, sorry about the delay. I'm trying to figure out how to change. Okay, here it is. So now we can talk about Bout of Books. So they do this several times a year. The next one, as you can see here, is May 13th through 19th. This last week was just the very first. It started on New Year's Day and went for a week. And I finished 5 books, and then I read, and I made progress on another, looks like 5. Yeah, I jotted down some notes on which ones. So let's see. And I do not have physical copies of any of these. They were mostly audiobooks. Looks like one was an ebook. So I am just going to go into Goodreads and just show you last night at the Telegraph Club. And that is by Melinda Lowe. And that was a nominee for Best Young Adult Fiction in the Goodreads Choice Awards. I really liked the narrator. Are you going to show me who the narrator was? Oh, I've got to find the audiobook edition. Emily Wu Zeller. I was thinking that was her. Yeah. She did a great job with the narration. I like this. I gave it 4 stars. It was a really good, solid story. It's a story of love and duty set in San Francisco's Chinatown during the Red Scare. Main character is Lily, a young Chinese American girl, and she was born in China, or born in America, but of course, 1950s was a really hard time for the Chinese diaspora. So, yeah, America in 1954 is not a safe place for 2 girls to fall in love, especially not in Chinatown. So there's family drama, there's high school drama, there's community drama. I did find some of it a little repetitive, and I found there were some pacing issues for me, but overall, I really thought this was very well done. Um, so it's a good story, and I think it is YA fiction, and this one has been challenged. I don't know if it's been banned, but it has been challenged. And so I think it's important to make sure that books like this are available for young people to read, both to understand, if they are questioning their sexuality, to know that they're not alone, that to have some understanding of what other people have gone through and that sort of thing. And also for other teens to also have some empathy for that kind of situation of discrimination and harassment uh, and the sort of things that are exist around the world and are well, they never really went away, but they're coming back really strong in America because, yeah. Um, so I would highly recommend this for teens, um, LGBT or not. I think it's important that books like this are available, um, and not challenged or banned. So then next up, and I'm trying to remember why I read this. Oh, so Kindle has this thing, and I have a gajillion books on Kindle. And anyway, this one was I did not already have this one, but it was available through Amazon Prime, and uh, Amazon does this Kindle challenge, and throughout, and it's on a quarterly basis, and they give you these little challenges. And one of them was to read a Goodreads Choice Award winner. And here it says nominee for the best of the best, but it actually won the award for poetry, which is no longer a category in the Goodreads Choice Awards. Yeah. Anyway, and I figure I kind of wanted to give a shout out to poetry. So I got this, and also I figure I should be reading more poetry because I am currently the vice president of the Poetry Society of Colorado. So I need to be a little bit more into the field and reading other people's work, because that's always good inspiration to see what other people are writing. I have to admit, I was a little leery of this because a lot of the Goodreads Choice stuff in the poetry section, and maybe this is why they got rid of it, I doubt it, but a lot of it was really kind of questionable. I was getting really bad reviews, and I read a little bit of it here and there, excerpts, and I'm like, yeah, that's not a poem, that's a tweet. And you can put poetry in tweets, obviously, but and these, I was actually really impressed. There was it was poetry, and some of it was very short form. Some of it was spread out over multiple pages, and she did her own illustrations, which I thought was really cool. And the only reason I gave it 4 stars instead of the higher rating was that a lot of it, she was obviously working through a breakup, and yeah, I wasn't feeling it. I was feeling it because she actually was very good at putting her feelings into verse, and well, not rhymed verse, but into a poetic form format. And so I got it, but I don't know. I have never really experienced breakups like that, and it's just I don't know. I'm not one to really agree. I mean, there is a grieving process for any long-term relationship that ends, but I don't grieve the same way, and so I don't know, and maybe it says something that it did make me uncomfortable, but a lot of it, I was just like, "Yeah, yeah, yeah, move on." And I mean, that's kind of rude, but, I wasn't really into those sections. And then there's also, just content warning, it does go into some assault, um, and working through that, and, there's some really powerful stuff in here. So I think, and it is very, feminist, and I was impressed, and I will read more from this author, this poet. And then the next book was Patience and Not Forsaken. And this is by Alex E. Harrow. And so, okay, this is an animal book. There is a cat in this, and the cat is very important. Very good character. So this girl, Patience, a teenage girl, and this is, I don't think it says exactly when, but it's pretty clearly in the 1950s. She is, yeah, here it says, diagnosed with a nervous disposition, and you start finding out more about her past with her family. Anyway, her father inherits this dilapidated mansion and this country house that's been in the family a long time, and the doctor, who I guess also treated her mother, and you'll find out more about that. I don't want to give it away, but says, yeah, she needs some time out, by herself. Yeah. And I saw one review that kind of compared it to Yellow Wallpaper, by Charlotte Perkins Gilman. And yeah, there's some of that vibe. But anyway, she and her dad move into this mansion, and he starts trying to fix it up. And she starts seeing in these old mirrors, she starts seeing another girl, another face in the mirror. And this girl is trying to explain to her, it's like, hey, you should come over here. It's awesome here. Yeah. Anyway, I don't want to give spoilers. It's a very short, it's not even an hour long. So I don't want to say a whole lot. But I really, I really did enjoy this. And Jennifer Natoso was the narrator for this, and I don't think I'm familiar with any of her other work. And then next, Notes on an Execution. I started this for the book troop. This was a book that Gabby Reed, Gabby at Gabby Reads does the book troop book club. I kind of, sometimes she likes books that are a little darker than I like to read. But I'd been wanting to read this, so I started it, and I was really, really meh on it at first. And I only gave it 3 stars. I did gradually warm to it for being what it was. It's billed as a literary suspense hybrid, and frankly, I don't think this hybrid was a really good idea. Um, I personally would have liked a lot more because it's about this guy who's being executed for murder, and he was a serial killer, and that's not a spoiler. It's not a mystery at all, and I don't know that I would call it suspense at all. Um, and I guess there are a few things that are supposed to be suspenseful, but I feel like the on the one hand, you've got this police procedural, because one of the points of view is the homicide detective who's trying to nail him, um, and you've got her police procedural point of view, and she also knew him in high school, so and there's some literary aspects to it, but it is very much police procedural. I would have been happier if the whole thing had been police procedural. But at the same time, I read a lot of reviews where they're like, I'm here for the literary fiction and this digging into the capital punishment question and all that. I don't care about the police procedural. So those chapters ruined it for them. And so it just did not balance well, I thought. So yeah. But I did gradually, because okay, the 4 points of view. There's the point of view of the serial killer on death row, and it's a countdown to his execution, and he's talking about it's not a manifesto. He swears it's not a manifesto, but he's got a theory, and he's been writing this theory, and he wants to be well known, and he's got an escape plan to get, it's 12 hours to his execution, and he's got an escape plan. But anyway, I guess part of the suspense is, does he escape or not? You'll just have to read it, I guess. But yeah, I felt like there was no suspense. That point of view and the other points of view just did not, they just kind of canceled each other out on the suspense angle. But the other 3 points of view are the sister of his wife, and I don't want to give spoilers as to that relationship and how it develops and everything. Also the police detective, and then his mother. And yeah, there's some really grim stuff, especially in the mother's the mother's story and how that goes. I was hoping my voice would last longer than this. Okay. All right. There is some grim stuff. It's a very dark story. There is not any levity anywhere in here, I don't think. I think different points of view would have had a huge impact on the suspense. I don't know. A lot of people, it's very divisive. I feel I'm probably one of the few people giving it 3 stars. Most people are like, oh my God, this is the worst book ever, or they absolutely loved it. And, it was the nominee for Best Fiction. So in 2022 for the Goodreads Choice Award. So I don't know. Your mileage may vary. And then the final thing I read this was not an animal book, so it doesn't count for that. Yeah. The Keeper of Stories by Sally Page. And see. This was, I read this for High Tea Book Club, which I don't want to say a whole lot about this book because we haven't discussed it yet. That meeting's coming up later this week. And, but I gave it 4 stars. I really enjoyed this a lot. It's not a really deep or profound or exciting read, but there are some shenanigans. And this was just a really nice, even story. There's a romance, but it's like people about my age, and it's nice, and it goes my pace. And this is an animal book. See, there's a dog on the cover, and yeah, dog tag. It's a really sweet book. It's a gentle read. It's about this cleaner who collects stories. And it did actually take me a little bit to get into it. I'm like, she's a cleaner and she collects stories. How is this a novel? But then there is a plot and everything. And the characters, I think, are all really interestingly done. They're very well defined. None of this, oh my gosh, I can't tell anybody apart kind of stuff. And like I said, I don't want to say a whole lot about it just yet, but I thought this was nice and pleasant. I don't know. Other people say it's predictable, but I don't know. I wasn't even trying to predict it, because a lot of times with these romance stories or these, chick lit kind of things, I especially if there's any kind of mystery. And this, I wouldn't even really call it a mystery, but there is sort of a family drama kind of thing going on, and there's some family history stuff that comes out. And, there's a lot of stuff I'm like, oh, that was so-and-so's mother. And no, I didn't even try. I was just like, I'm just going along for the ride. This is great. This is lovely. This is sweet. If you're wanting something just kind of cozy and warm and fun, this is good. This is good. All right. So those are the 5 books I finished. So now I'll talk a little bit about Winterween. And so that is, and again, I've got information, links in the description below. And this is a thing that Gabby at Gabby Reads does. And I think it started off as Summerween, but then there was Camp Weekendween, and then there was Winterween. And I do have the merch for this one. Yay! I think I even got in on like the first go round of the merch, and so I've had this one. I love her sister Rachel, and I linked to the announcement video for Winterween, and she's got links to her sister Rachel's, I think, Instagram and Etsy shop. She does stickers. She does, I think, bookmarks, and she does all the art for the merch. And anyway, it's so much fun. You get to read spooky reads in winter and summer, and bring a little bit of Halloween in. And so there are prompts. So I have ticked off 2 of the 5 prompts so far. I think I told you it goes January 5 through 11. So this started on Friday. And so the first prompt was read a book in the dark or at night. And so for that, I usually listen to a pretty short audiobook so that it's just one night and I get it out of the way. And so that was Patience and Not Forsaken. So that was a really good one to read in the dark at night. and just listen to that. And I mean, it's kind of spooky, but then it's not spooky, and there's an awesome cat. So, um, and then, okay, so the second prompt was read a book with a witch on the cover or in the title, or a book about witches. And I, I have not gone back to that book yet. I'm gonna read the Bone Witch for that. So I'll get started on that soon. I had started it, but I think I'm just gonna have to start over because it's been a while. And then prompt 3, read a book with a snowy winter setting, in a snowy/winter setting. And I might do Faux Ho Ho by Nathan Burgoyne. And that's a novella. And Nathan writes, he's a book crossing friend. I've never actually met Nathan, but I enjoy reading his stories. And it's a gay romance. But I think, and this one needs to get back to the library soon, but this is City Under One Roof. And this is set in Alaska. And this is a murder mystery. It's this city that is all in one building because it's isolated out in the middle of absolute nowhere in Alaska. And these teenagers find these body parts. And that's as far as I am right now. But it's sort of an interesting setting that you've got all of these people in this one building, and that's the city. So, the fourth prompt was read a book with purple on the cover. So that was Notes on an Execution. That was a purple cover. And let's see, the fifth prompt, read a book with a W in the title. So The Bone Witch would work, but I also have started The Weird Sisters, and I started that for the Folgers, the Folger Shakespeare Library, their online book club. And I didn't get very far in it, just the way things were going. So I'll probably start that one over again too. Interesting thing about that one, and it's about, The Weird Sisters is the title. Who's the author on that? I don't have it written down here. I can look it up here. Eleanor Brown. So you get the feeling, yeah, these are witches, these three sisters. So it would count for the witchy one too. But it is, what I thought was really interesting is so the point of view is that first person plural, or I can't remember. There's a term for it. But if you've read We Write Upon Sticks, that kind of point of view, where it's like this collective consciousness, sort of, or a chorus almost, a Greek chorus kind of narrator. It's not an omniscient third person. It's first person plural. It's weird. And if it's done well, it can be really cool. So I'm hoping that this one proves to be done well. All right, so that's Winterween. The whole thing is just always a ton of fun, and so I encourage you to check that one out too. And so now let's take a look at the Mardi Gras readathon, and this has not started yet. And I don't even have my TBR really put together yet for this. But this, and again, I've got links below. Kat and Lori are the co-hosts for this. I think Lori started it, and then last year, and then Kat came on this year as a co-host. And yeah, so I linked to Kat's video because she actually has a link to Lori's video and also lists all the prompts. And so this one actually has 9 prompts. So, and there's a bingo board and everything. So I won't go into it all here. I just kind of wanted to touch on it moving forward. And let's see. But it's all of the prompts have to do with elements of Mardi Gras. And Mardi Gras actually started, I think, on the 6th, the Mardi Gras season, I guess, because or is it the 7th? I'm not Catholic, and I'm not really into religion, so I don't really follow Mardi Gras and stuff. But Epiphany was the 6th. So I guess after Epiphany, which is when the 3 kings arrived, the Christ child's birth, after following the star, and they bring the gifts. And so then that starts the Mardi Gras season, and then Mardi Gras is this big last blowout feast before Ash Wednesday and giving things up for Lent. And yeah, I was raised Protestant, so I'm just like, yeah, I'll eat chocolate. I don't care. I don't do Lent. But anyway, there is a group read, and I was like, okay, I actually have a copy already. I've had this for, I don't know, decades probably. It's been sitting on my shelf, and I've never gotten around to it. But it is New Orleans Morning by Julie Smith. It's a mystery, and it's the first in a series, and I have at least one more book in the series. So I think this is like, fate. So I need to read this, but it's about a murder that takes place during Mardi Gras. And, in New Orleans, they have all the parades, the cruise, and all that stuff. I've never been to Mardi Gras, so I don't really know what that's like. But yeah, so, and this, I've just jotted down some notes. Looks like this will cover at least 3 of the 9 prompts, because looks like it will cover read a book set on the Gulf Coast, read a book about a crew or a group of friends, and read a book set in New Orleans. So that's yay. And that is pretty much it. That one starts on the 13th. And goes until Mardi Gras. So yeah, I think that one will be a lot of fun. So that's one that I'm really looking forward to this year, and also seeing how it develops, because it's a fairly new one, and I missed it completely last year. I had no idea it existed until just a little bit ago, and so I'm looking forward to that. So I'm going to stop my screen. All right. And yeah, I did this on really super short notice. So I wasn't expecting to have anyone actually show up. But yeah, just in the comments below, because you can watch this on replay, in the comments section, just let me know what you're reading in 2024. Why isn't that showing? Okay, there it is. Yeah, let me know if you're doing any of these readathons, or if you've got other readathons or challenges. Yeah, I haven't even talked about reading challenges or anything yet. And yeah, I've been busy trying to get my 2023 stuff all wrapped up, and I'm still working on that. And that's why I'm doing a lot of audiobook listening. But yeah, I will definitely be reading some physical books here in a little bit. And yeah, so let me know what all you are excited about in the coming weeks, what you've read earlier this year that you're excited about, and that you think people need to know about. And yeah, and let's get a conversation going in the comments. And I'll talk at y'all later. Bye.